with Tiffany, with your host, Tyffanie Morgan.
That's right, sweet peas. It's me. It's me. Bum. Bum. Well, hello, my little sweet peas, my little love muffins from all around the big blue world. This is your hostess, Miss Tyffanie Morgan, calling to you live from Kingston, Ontario, Canada, the home of limestone and the home to me, Miss Tyffanie Morgan. Yes, drag queen extraordinaire. Extraordinaire. Hey. All right. It is noon. Well, hello, sweet peas. So, it is noon as in it's not a breakfast time? Is that what you're trying to tell me, Kelly dear? Well, I've been busy. Kisses. I've been busy. I don't know about you guys, but there's been quite a few live drag shows as of late, and I've participated in them. So Thursday night we had a live drag show at the Holiday Inn. Miss Rowena Way, I put that together and I helped her out with that. That was great, and there may be future live programming. Anyway, I'm still very much working towards a tea show, like a show organized by me, Tyffanie Morgan, for Halloween. So we'll see how that goes. I have yet to get all the cast and crew together. We're still working out the details. It's so much planning. There's so much planning involved now. Before you could just be like, yeah, we're gonna do a show, blah 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 blah. But now, you know, you're like, oh, it has to be a maximum capacity. Everyone has to be socially distanced. Everyone has to give me all their personal details. You know, before you used to get their personal details off the bathroom wall, if you know what I mean. But now, now you got to get them before they come into this building. And, there's a lot of prep work. Speaking of which, there will be a lot of prep work for me because in the coming little bit, this program is going to be on CFRC 101.9 FM here in Kingston, Ontario. Yeah, we're going to go back to radio, sweet peas. So, I'm looking forward to that. I got to stop doing the you know, those little things. I never did go to, what do you call that place, where they teach you how to speak properly. There's these groups that you can go to, and they teach you how to speak for public speaking and stuff like that. And Toastmasters, that's what it is. I've never done a Toastmasters. I really should do a Toastmasters one of these days. But what can I say? All right, so I'm going to put it out to the audience. What do you want to hear first? Because I did, just to remind myself how to do it, I did a interview recording with Rowena Way. Or do you want to go straight into garden stuff? Finishing school. Yeah, I never did do finishing school. Just leave the money, you know, where to leave it. Anyway, so do you want to hear an interview? It is a long one. It's 15 minutes. Or do you want to go first straight into Tiffany's garden? Tiffany's garden. We're going to do. I keep forgetting that this is probably like an entire minute or two delayed when it comes to the live programming and stuff like that. Is there a third option? Well, no. Okay, so we're going to go straight into the interview. So just reminding myself how technology works and how to record audio and stuff like that properly. I called Miss Rowena Way, and part of, I think we're going to do a little bit of a series where I'm talking, I'll speak to drag performers in Kingston, and then hopefully also interview people about the history of drag in Kingston as well, and that'll just be kind of like an ongoing series. So Jazz, if you're listening right now, guess what? You may be called. We may call you. All right, so where is that? Oh, here we go. I want to welcome to the program here Miss Rowena Way. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Rowena, I have all these little questions that I've tried to think up of because you and we've known each other for a while now, so I don't think there's anything that I don't know about you.
I mean, I try to surprise people every time, but it's been a while. You probably know most of the things about me.
For those who don't know you, can you tell us a bit about yourself and about your career?
My name is Rowena Way, as you said. I am a drag queen. I'm originally from Kingston, but my drag career started in Edmonton back in 2016 now. 4 years this Halloween.
Ooh.
4 years this Halloween. So I'm very much looking forward to Halloween 2020. So I started in Edmonton, and I started off performing at a few charity shows, and then I started hosting. And then I came back here and I decided that you had control of Kingston Drag, and so I needed to try and take it from you.
I'm sorry, are you actually admitting to the hostile takeover that you've done?
No. It's not been hostile. It's a friendly takeover.
A friendly takeover. Mm-hmm.
But since coming to Kingston, I've just tried to grow my brand as Rowena, and honestly just trying to have a lot of fun with it and getting to perform as much as possible, which is hard in a smaller city.
Well, yeah, but getting that opportunity to perform on stages and stuff, yeah, that's always a challenge at any time of year or anything like that, let alone during various lockdowns and stuff. So, but that we'll get into that in a moment. Drag, I kind of see as a performance art. So, how has your art changed over the last 4 years? Let's just say prior to COVID.
Well, my face looks a lot better in drag now than it did 2 or 3 years ago. That's for sure. I have learned to blend, although I know that some queens in Kingston would probably say that I haven't. But I think that over the years, I've really realized that I know now what I like to do when I'm performing. I really like to focus on things that I am good at and not try and go outside of my comfort zone too much, which is different than you usually hear. But when I started performing, I thought that I really had to be like a dancing queen or something like that, like all of those big drag race superstars. But really, I'm like a comedic, dancing, campy, and over the last few years, singing queen, because I realized that I really wanted to bring that back into my performance.
What I'm taking from that conversation is that you're finding your niche. You're finding your where I sit in the grand scheme of the various drag world and stuff like that.
Exactly, and I like to try and reach into other boxes. Like I like doing comedy. I like doing some creepy looking numbers every once in a while, but all in all, like I know that I am that over dramatic, campy style of drag. Not classic, not modern, but somewhere in between.
Well, not classy, but
I'm definitely not classy.
How has your art been affected by COVID-19?
I get to talk a lot more. When you're doing virtual shows and when you're doing like shows where you have to be socially distanced, you have to talk a lot, I've realized, because you can't go up and interact with people, and you don't get that audience participation that you would usually get at a drag show. Drag is all about interacting with your audience, and I think that's what we really lost during the pandemic, is that personal interaction. So I've just learned to run my mouth and hope that funny things come out.
That's basically how I host shows in town here. Is after 1 or 2 cocktails, let's just see if this goes well.
Exactly. Although I will say that I've definitely had fewer shows over the last few months than I would usually have had. And that's due to this lovely pandemic that we're in. But I'm trying. I'm trying to get drag out in Kingston as much as possible before can't do it anymore.
Well, yeah. The future is very unknown, especially in performance circles. Let's talk a bit more about the audience, kind of that feedback and stuff like that. Because if you're doing a live program on doing a live broadcast on Facebook or something like that, you do have that opportunity to chat with the people who are watching you, and they're hitting the like button and stuff like that. How is that different than like an in-person sort of thing?
The energy is not quite the same. You still get the people interacting per se, but it's always delayed. So you'll get like a comment a few minutes later, or you'll get something about what you were talking about previously, and so you kind of have to go back, and it's much more scatterbrained, and it's not quite as fluid as when you're actually with an audience and you can walk around and you can feel them cheering or applauding, or you can even just go up to them and ask them a question. Because if I'm doing a virtual show, I might know a couple of the people in the audience because I can see their names on the list, but if I call out to them, that doesn't guarantee they're going to answer me.
Yeah, I think for it's just speaking for myself though, like you said, there is that delay for a like a online live broadcast because they could be commenting on something that you said like a minute or two ago, and you don't even remember what that is.
Exactly.
You're like, what?
Especially if you've had one or two cocktails.
Well, I think that's part of the live performance feature is the imbibing. But also I find that it's the unspoken cues. It's the body language or the or whatever, people laughing or something like that. That kind of feedback. It's not just the, like, oh, that was great, sweetheart, or whatever sort of thing. It's that kind of feedback that I kind of feed off as well.
Being able to see people when you're performing really tells you whether or not what you're doing is actually being enjoyed, or if you should change it up. And you don't get that type of thing when you are doing a virtual show.
Now, with the live shows, I'm definitely going off script right now. So, with
what's new?
What's new? This is a drag show. So the live shows, we've now had to put ourselves behind some sort of a curtain, the physical barrier sort of thing, right? And I find that myself is a bit hard to read the social cues as well, because you're behind a physical barrier, which may be hindering the way, I am already wearing contacts. And then,
It is like being a fish trapped in a fish tank, looking out at the people on the other side.
Yeah, life in the goldfish bowl, exactly.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely not as nice as performing without a screen, but it is 100% better than performing virtually.
True. I can't argue with that at all.
No, I think that it depends on the lighting. Daylight shows, it's definitely easier performing behind a screen. You can see the audience more clearly, but the nighttime shows that are traditional for drag, because we look better at night when you can't see us, it's harder to see through the screen. It's harder to see the performers. It's harder to see the audience. So maybe something to take into consideration in the future.
Yeah, exactly. We only come out at night. The days are much too bright. So you've hosted a few successful live shows recently in Kingston. So can you tell us what were some of the challenges, some of the successes?
Well, I mean, they've all been successes so far. The shows in general. I've hosted 4 shows since starting to do live shows again, and 3 out of 4 were completely sold out. So it just shows that people have been craving live entertainment. People have been craving the experience of going out and doing something again. So that's been a huge success. Some challenges. There's a lot of hesitation in the community about going out and doing things. I know that patio shows are more popular right now because you're outside. There's that feeling of being a little bit safer. You can distance a little bit more easily than rather than having a show inside where people are stuck indoors and don't feel quite as comfortable. But then we also have this issue of the screen, and a lot of venues weren't even aware that we actually had this requirement. And I myself, trying to figure out this requirement, had to call public health a few times in order to figure it out because people didn't know. My most recent show, I was organizing it and they said, oh, well, if no one's singing, then you don't need a screen, right? I was like, nope, we need physical barriers. So I had to provide that myself, which was a challenge, but found it.
Well, I think you're speaking to something that, like, the current environment is constantly changing. There's new rules here, new rules there, and it's hard to keep up with what are the rules in place right now, or when you're trying to plan something in the future, what they may be in the future too.
Yes, I'm definitely locked to the news and social media constantly. For every upcoming show, the couple days before, I am basically glued to my screen trying to see what the regulations are right now, whether they've changed the number of people who can be at an event or whether they've changed what I have to do to be able to perform. It's definitely a time-consuming process, but it's something that we have to do if we want to be able to continue doing this.
Yeah, and it's especially in Ontario, so quite often the Premier will announce changes to various allotments and stuff like that, like how many people can congregate and stuff like that. And those tend to take effect on Saturdays, I think. So I've even heard of people like trying to avoid Saturdays or Sundays because things may just change overnight immediately.
Yes, they definitely have been changing overnight, but I mean, I have a Sunday show coming up, so there we go. We'll have a one-day space in order to implement any necessary changes.
So why don't you just take this moment to plug your Sunday show?
Sunday, October 18th at Musiki in the courtyard at the back of Musiki, we are having a drag show starring Dare de la Femme and Vinnie Von Vinci, two local drag kings, and of course myself, Rowena Way. And that is at 7 p.m. on the 18th, if I have that correct.
So buy your tickets today on Eventbrite?
On Eventbrite. There are only a few more available, so if you don't have one, get it quickly.
Get them quickly. All right, so to close up, so have you thought of what drag might be in the future? Any ideas?
In person with physical contact?
Is that wishful thinking?
I think that's wishful thinking. I think that drag is probably going to evolve as much more of a stage show in a lot of places. I think that a lot of the queens are working really hard right now to develop their craft to be able to fit this new environment. So a lot of people are putting more effort into video style performances and choreographed performances and bigger numbers because we have less time to actually perform. So there's more effort going in. So I think that drag will probably evolve to be more theater and less stage show. Less bar show, more theater.
Interesting.
But then again, that could also be wishful thinking because I've always wanted to be in the theater.
Well, I keep thinking that if there's going to be more online kind of live drag and stuff like that, that there may be changes to how drag is because traditionally we're always lip syncing to a song, and because you're online, you can't really do that for various copyright and artistic limitations and stuff like that. So it'd be interesting to see how that evolves.
That is a very interesting point. I wonder if there will be some new avenues for music presentation online, something away from the social media, so that you can actually do live shows or do pre-recorded shows with lip syncing, or even with other types of spoken word and singing and all those fun drag arts.
Or maybe
So
we need to start a petition. Madonna, just allow drag queens to, to lip sync to your song online.
we will have to start petitioning all of the artists, all of the gay icons, to allow us to use their music.
Cher, come on, girl.
Oh, Cher would be down. Cher would be down.
Mariah Carey?
No.
All right, well, Rowena Way, I want to thank you for being on this Breakfast with Tiffany episode, and thank you for being with us today.
Thank you again so much for having me. It was my pleasure.
All right, and where can people find you online?
You can find me on all of the social media at Rowena Way, and Way is Whey. You can also find me on my website, RowenaWayDragQueen.com, or you can, come out to a show on October 18th.
There we go. All right, well, thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Wow, wasn't that just lovely? Ooh. I gotta be careful about my laughing there. All right, well, thank you so much, Rowena Way, for joining me. So we did that interview just yesterday, actually, and so the program that she was talking about, the upcoming drag show on October 18th, it's called a drag show at Musiki Courtyard. I'm not too sure if it's an appropriate name, actually, just mentioned on radio, so we won't mention that. But it is available on Eventbrite, and tickets are still available right now at this moment. But let's take a moment here and take a look at upcoming events. Well, the event music is broken again. All right, let's try that again. There we go. There's some event music. Out in Kingston, your source for all the kind of gay events going on here in Kingston. Wow, what do we got going on then? So on Out In, so we have Gender Talk. That is another fabulous program here on CFRC 101.9 FM radio. We have Breakfast with Tiffany. You're listening to that right now, so yeah, that's good. Radio Pandemic, that's a great program as well on CFRC. Beers for Queers, that's every Saturday at the that place at Monty's. Sorry, had a moment there. At Monty's on Ontario Street. So that's every Saturday from 10 p.m. onward. And coming up in the far future. Oh, and on the 18th is Rowena's drag show at Musiki. So tickets still available. October 20th is also the Kingston Pride Annual General Meeting. So if you are a past member from last year or years or whatnot, you can still renew your membership to give you rights to give you voting privileges. So that will happen on the 20th, and it will be all virtual, online. So feel free to drop in. Even if you're not a member, just you can listen in if you want to. Be respectful, obviously. And this is going to be a very important year. There's going to be lots of elections. There's going to be people elected to the board. There's lots of amendments being brought forward. So it's a very important year. So if you are a past member, think about renewing your membership today so that you are eligible to cast your votes on the 20th. And not on here, but it's in the works. You get an exclusive from me. But I am doing a matinee drag show on Halloween Day. So we're looking at a matinee, like doors opening at 1, show starts at 2 sort of thing and won't go past 4 o'clock. So I'm still in the works for that. I haven't got all the performers. I haven't figured out all the tables. But I'm working on it, and I want you to know. I want you to know. But yeah, that's what's going on here in Kingston right now. That's what's going on. So, lots of stuff. Oh, why did that renew itself? Oh well. Anyway, so let's take a look at my garden because we're running out of time here. Let's take a quick look here. So here's a video that I did just today. Look at I love it when the bumblebees take a little nap on my flowers. It's so adorable. So there's a little bumblebee sitting on one of my dahlias, and here's some more of my orange dahlias. And there's some zinnias in here too. They're all doing. Oh, and there's a pink dahlia. So I grew that one from seed years ago, and I keep growing it every year. But there's a lot of colors right now, and for some reason with all this kind of dark. Oh, and it started to rain a little bit, so I wanted to show that on the elephant ear there. But with the darker skies and stuff, the colors are just so kind of autumnal. Even if they're not necessarily autumnal looking, they just feel autumnal because of that casting of the light and stuff like that. So I have that little video. Let's take a look at this basket. Oh, well, anyway, there's an anemone finally in bloom. My anemone has finally bloomed. Is it an anemone? Anyway, found some vegetables. They are. I think that's a zucchini. I found that growing in a shrub. Oh, and here's Jerusalem artichoke. I'm not too sure. It's a member of the Solanaceae family, I think. And so that was the yellow fly. It barely blooms, but it's grown for the tuber. It's actually a vegetable. Oh, and here, my clematis. So I have a couple of blooms on my clematis again. And I think that had to do with the crazy weather we had in September, where it got cold. If you remember, it just got cold. And then warmed up again. And here's a basket of green tomatoes. And then it warmed up again. And I think that triggered the clematis thinking that it was like, oh, it went through winter and then it's blooming again. But that basket of green tomatoes, so I'm trying to do a trick. That I have heard of over the years. And it was to put green tomatoes into a paper bag and put a banana in there as well. Because the bananas let go of ethylene gas, the ripe bananas, ethylene gas. And ethylene is what causes most vegetables to ripen. So we'll see if that bag of green tomatoes turned into a bag of red tomatoes. All right. Well, I better get going here, sweet peas. Half hour. I have meetings to go to, things to see, people I have to report to and all that kind of stuff. So I got to get going. But I hope you had a fabulous day today. Zucchini. Yeah, it was zucchini. I hope you had a great day today. And again, thank you, Rowena, for being a guest on this program. And anyone else? Oh, I could do green tomato salsa. Yeah, that's true, too. Anyway. But, and thank you to whoever was listening today. The ramblings of a drag queen here in Kingston, Ontario, Canada. Mwah. I give you my love, dears. You stay safe now.